Welcome back to the channel, guys. You're tuned in to yet another episode here on Rob on 85 South. Now, this is the podcast. We got to talk about what's been happening in the NBA and all across sports. First Take podcast is here. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, as well as turn on post notifications to be notified anytime I go live. With that being said, we're going to discuss our very first topic. LUKA Doncic, because this is the hottest thing in the NBA or in sports right now. The fact that LUKA Doncic got ejected at that point in the game, it was 108 to 107, if I'm not mistaken. So why are the refs deciding who wins and who loses in this scenario? I don't get it. The stars in action tonight. Now, if you guys are anything like the refs, you're probably going to enjoy that.
There you go.
Me personally, if you not call 7 minutes left in the game,
There you go.
and you decide to call a technical foul.
Well, he got the switch. He won it again. Hartenstein.
7 minutes left in the game.
Luka's thrown out of the game.
The game is
Luka just got thrown
not
out.
tied,
There
but
you
it's
go.
close. The Lakers are
Second
up 1
technical.
point.
Doncic is gone.
Luka is saying he was talking to a fan, and the official is saying he was talking to me. So that's his second.
The fact that Luka was able to even get them to this point. But as Luka tried to explain to the boneheaded ref that, hey, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to the fan. It's amazing to see. All throughout the season, you guys have been trolling Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as being a free throw merchant. And I was the one to beg to differ that, you know what, he's not a free throw merchant. He's just getting to the paint. But now, since it happened to the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm going to go ahead and say I agree with y'all 100%. Because there's no reason why you call this in this situation. And the ref has to know that he's not talking to him. Luka did not even make eye contact with the ref in this particular moment. Now, you could argue that was a foul. Oh, wow. I don't know what Luka said, but it had to be something about the foul. Because why would the ref call a technical in that situation right there? There's no reason to call a technical in that situation. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to Mike Malone being fired. Now, a lot of people are looking at this situation, hindsight 2020. Hey, if you would have told them in 2013, 2014 that, hey, we're going to, in 2 years, we're going to hire Mike Malone, and then less than 9 seasons, 10 seasons, however you want to look at, Mike Malone is going to get us a championship. Now, me personally, I didn't know Mike Malone was going to be able to do it because George Karl and Carmelo Anthony wasn't able to do it. But that's why this is called Hot Takes. And this is why this is my first take on this particular situation. Is it right? No. Will we ever know the real reason? No. But I want to show you guys or bring to you guys' attention of what I think would happen. I think LUKA as well as JOKIC will all be on the same team come next season, along with LeBron James. This is what I think. Now, is it going to be something that comes to fruition? Only time will tell. But the fire might belong. And the only reason why I'm saying that Nikola Jokic had something to do with this is because if we've come to believe these last couple of seasons that Mike Malone and Nikola Jokic were just two peas in a pod, your star player, you don't fire his favorite coach. You just don't. Just take it back to when LeBron James was with Miami and it was either him or Eric Spoelstra. I don't know if that's the real reason why LeBron left, but you can kind of tell that within the organization. I don't know if it was he and Mickey Harrison, the owner of the Miami Heat, if it was him and Nick Spoelstra, or if it was him and Pat Riley. All I know is LeBron James, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra. They weren't seeing eye to eye. Now, can we possibly see this squad team up? I'm going to say yes, it's a huge possibility. Only because you fired a championship head coach. A winning head coach at that. Now, when I first saw, I remember it vividly. And everybody had this, probably most people had this sentiment. Why are you hiring a coach that had 2 losing seasons with Sacramento? And then you realize that it's the Sacramento Kings. They haven't been relevant since Donahue finessed them out of a NBA Finals berth. And you guys can do your research on that. Ironically, now the NBA is allowing betting. And you guys saw yesterday what allowing betting has done to the NBA. Now, 28-54, 11-13. He's then fired mid-season. They didn't even let him finish. He's fired 2014 to 2015. Then the following season, the Denver Nuggets decide to hire him. And from 2015 to 16 to 2022, 2023, how many years is that? What is that, like 9 seasons or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then they won the championship. They did go 57-25, and this year they struggled, losing 10 more games. Not only that, it's a huge drop off. Don't get me wrong, it's a huge drop off. But when I look at the roster and I'm thinking to myself, the ability to be able to cultivate Christian Braun, the leap he's made in 2 years is pretty spectacular to see. He might be in the running for most improved next year. But when Jamal Murray can't stay on the floor, and it's not like we didn't notice, Jamal Murray for his entire career can't seem to stay on the floor. Outside of his first 2 seasons, this man has not been able to stay healthy. Now, granted, when he's on the floor, he's an all-star caliber player. But during the season, he's not healthy enough to even get to the all-star. He could have made a couple of all-star appearances. 20-6, 21-6, 20. Well, I don't think so, because who is he going to start over? Is he going to start over Steph Curry? Is he going to start over James Harden when he was making it? Is he going to start over? Even now, James Harden just made it. It's crazy. Devin Booker? I don't think so. He would have to at least average 25 to 30 points to even sniff an all-star game. But you guys know, when he's on the floor, he's doing his thing. But, like I say, man, we all know it's levels to this. We all know it's levels. Hot takes continues. Hot Takes continues. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this podcast. Quick little podcast discussing what's going on around sports right now. Now, with that being said, we got to move on to something that's hot on the tongues of many people today. What is that? It's the Masters. Tomorrow, all the way until, what is it, the 10th through the 13th? Thursday through Sunday. Is the weather up for it? Is the weather, I don't know. But no Tiger Woods. And I'm wondering to myself, why is it no huge coverage on this? It should be everywhere. All the sports channels, it should be on everybody's For You page, main page, suggested page. It should be everywhere. But it's going to be entertaining. Hopefully the coverage heats up tomorrow. Rory McIlroy was supposed to take the torch away from Tiger Woods to be that, the face of the PGA Tour, or to be the face of golf. And nobody's been able to take that torch, man. Tiger, still, when he's healthy, he's not playing because he's out with an Achilles. But hopefully he just shows his face. Roy McIlroy, Bubba Watson, Koepka, all these players. What the heck is Vijay Singh? I haven't seen Vijay Singh in years. If that's even how you spell it. Oh, he's 60 years old. That's probably why. I just remember him winning it. Didn't he win a couple? Did he ever win the Masters? I thought he won the Masters one time. Oh, yeah, he did win in 2000. Okay, I knew he won. Back to this thing, man. It starts tomorrow. So we're going to be tuned into that. Once again, the Los Angeles Lakers were robbed. And hopefully you guys watched that game because it was a good game. Look at this. 43-43 in the first quarter. It was a prize fight. And then Luka Doncic was phantomly ejected, which is crazy. You don't really see that often. 108-107, you eject a player and the Lakers look like a totally different team. But this is what we're all waiting for. The Los Angeles Lakers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Hot Takes podcast is nothing new. I give my first take on every topic that we have to cover. Mike Malone has been fired. Nikola Jokic may not return to the Nuggets after this season. He may ask to be traded this offseason. It's going to be something to look out for. Hopefully you guys watch out for that because I still don't think Jamal Murray should have been re-signed. I think the year that they won the championship, they should have kept their squad together. They should have, said, you know what, Jamal Murray, we're going to let you leave and we're going to keep this squad. Because you guys got to remember, it's Nikola Jokic who's the face of that offense. He's the face of the franchise. You build around him. You could have replenished. You could have, for the amount of money that they gave Jamal Murray, they could have spread that money out to bring in another veteran. That's $31 million that's eating up the cap space. And Michael Porter Jr. is highly overpaid. For him to be just a better shooter than Aaron Gordon, that's the only thing that he does better than Aaron Gordon. He shoots better. If I'm not mistaken, they have Aaron Gordon bringing up the ball and running the offense from time to time. Let's not forget, Aaron Gordon was almost on the cusp of becoming a franchise player in Orlando before they decided to trade him to Denver, and his roles were, changed. So, $60 million between these two players. You could have easily used that money to This is the roster that won the NBA championship. They went 53-29. They were 8th in the league, 15th in the league in defensive rating, 5th in the league in offensive rating, 8th when it came to the opponent's points per game, giving up 112. But this is what I want to come back to. They had Ish Smith, Jamal Murray, Reggie Jackson, Bones Highland. You guys remember Bones Highland? Haven't heard much of him since not being able. They had KCP. They had Bruce Brown. They had a solid bench. They had solid rotational players. And Jamal Murray goes out. You can bring in Reggie Jackson because if you guys remember, Reggie Jackson is a solid traditional style point guard. Remember him at OKC when he was a rookie with Kevin Durant, Ibaka, that squad that they have. I think James Harden was probably gone. I think he was probably there with James Harden as well, a year or two with James Harden. So he knows how to run the offense with the Clippers. He knows how to run the offense. So when Jamal Murray was coming in and out of the rotation, you never had a huge drop off because Reggie Jackson can do the same things that Jamal Murray can do, not as excitingly, but he can. He can score. He can shoot threes. He can distribute. He can do all that. You let him leave. You let KCP leave, who was a 3-and-D guard. You had Bruce Brown, who was a spark off the bench. You had veteran presences in the locker room with Jeff Green, with KCP actually coming off a championship with the Lakers. You trade those guys, then you go 57-25. Not a huge drop off. Why? Because you still have Reggie Jackson, KCP. Jeff Green was gone, so that voice in the locker room kind of left with him. And not a huge drop off. But then you get this roster. You bring in Russell Westbrook. I ain't going to say it's Russell Westbrook's fault, but it is what it is, man. At this point in time, where do the Denver Nuggets go from here? Where does Mike Malone go from here? Is there any head coaching jobs out there for Mike Malone after being fired? I don't know. But I do know one thing. If Mike Budenholzer got another job, which I still don't know how you mess up Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, any other coach, like a Spoelstra, like a Ty Lue, like a Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, any other coach would have figured out how to get it done. So is Mike Budenholzer really a good coach, a good enough coach? Should we give Mike Malone more credit for doing something that George Karl and Carmelo Anthony couldn't do in the Western Conference, although be it the Western Conference was a lot more stacked at that point in time? We had Kobe, you had Dirk Nowitzki, you had Tim Duncan, you had T-Mac. So I can understand why I was tough, but T-Mac never made it out of the first round. Still don't know how he got into the Hall of Fame, which is crazy. How you not make it out of the first round when you got Yao Ming at your... It's crazy. But all in all, where do you go from here? Where do you go from here, Mike Malone? Looking around the NBA, how many head coaching jobs are there? And Brooklyn, you guys are idiots. Look what Kenny Atkinson has done with the it's crazy. To close out this podcast, I gotta leave you guys with this one. The Brooklyn Nets shot themselves in the foot. Not once, but twice. Remember when Mikhail Prokhorov was the owner and he decided to sell their whole future for Deron Williams, Joe Johnson, for that old super team? When you want to talk about super team, that was a super team. Paul Pierce, KG, although they were old and past their prime, they were still good enough at that point in time because they were good enough. Brook Lopez, KG, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson, Gerald Wallace, Deron Williams. You had all that talent. Keith Bogans at one point in time. A lot of people don't remember Keith Bogans, but he was on that squad. You had a lot of talent. And they traded away their entire future for those guys. It didn't work out. They didn't bring in Kenny Atkinson. And every year, he elevated. Except for the 2019-2020 season. But this year, I remember vividly, this was the year that they made the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Went 1-4. But look, they had a squad. They had D'Angelo Russell that was playing like an all-star caliber player at this point in time. They was building something. Spencer Dinwiddie, they had a nice little young squad. If you want to compare them to somebody who they could have developed into, just look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, ironically. And just look at, a lot of people don't remember. They had, what's his name? Jared Allen, before he was traded to Cleveland. So, ironically, he then goes to Cleveland with Jared Allen again. So, this year, what happened that next year, though? You know what? I think this is the year they got KD and Kyrie Irving, if I'm not mistaken. That's the year. And then it just went all downhill from there. Yep. This was the year that Kyrie Irving and KD should have went to the New York Knicks, but they chose to mess up the franchise of the Brooklyn Nets. That's why they had this drop off. If you guys remember, Kenny Atkinson, every year that he was there was improving. This reminds me of what was happening with the Golden State Warriors when they had before they had Steve Kerr. Dang it. What was his name? Can't remember that coach. What was that coach name? Let me go back to the NBA in this year. I forgot his name. You guys know. As soon as I click on it, I'm gonna remember. Not Keith Smart. I went to Mark Jackson. That's his name, Mark Jackson. Every year, Mark Jackson was the head coach for the Golden State Warriors. They improved wins every year. How do you fire a coach after 151? Bring in Steve Nash. They win a championship. Rest is history. It kind of reminds me of that. Kenny Atkinson every year was improving. Then they brought in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and it just ruined the whole trajectory of where that franchise was going. They reset their timeline yet again. You guys see it. Bring in Kyrie Irving. And this was before COVID too, so that's crazy. And from that point on, he had to wait 1, 2, 3, 4 years before the head coaching job became open for him again. So I'll leave you guys with that one, man. Around the NBA, LUKA was ejected for no reason, talking trash to a fan. Mike Malone has been fired. Just breaking news. And Nikola Jokic may be joining the Los Angeles Lakers pretty soon. Depending on if it was not Luka, but Jokic that wanted him fired. But if it was Jokic, why do you fire the general manager and the head coach? What's going on there, man? It is what it is.